Hey everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. We love to dig deep around here, and today we were really diving into something special.
I think you could say that.
We are going to uncover the mysterious history behind Valentine's Day itself.
This is one that everyone thinks they know.
Exactly. You requested we dive into the origins of this holiday, and oh boy,
It's a good one.
it is a really, really good one. You sent us some fascinating pasted text, all focused on this Saint Valentine fellow. And honestly, I was pretty surprised by what I read, and I think you will be too.
Yeah, there's definitely more to this story than just chocolates and roses.
So much more so to kick things off. Why don't we start with, the man himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Saint Valentine.
Sounds good to me.
Now, reading through all this information, you know what struck me? There are a lot of Saint Valentines.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
More than one. I mean, it's not quite as simple as I thought. What's the story there?
Well, the thing is, the Catholic Church actually recognizes several different Saint Valentines.
A whole bunch of Valentines.
Yeah, kind of like a saintly party, but the one that seems to be, the most connected with the holiday we celebrate today, that's the one who's believed to be a Roman priest.
Okay, so a Roman priest.
Yeah, from back in the 3rd century.
3rd century, got it.
But even with him, even with that Saint Valentine, his story is still a little bit,
Like shrouded in a bit of mystery.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit legendary.
Okay, so we are already starting off in the realm of mystery and legends.
Mhm.
So what do we know about him? What do we know about this particular Saint Valentine? I mean, what makes him stand out?
Well, that's where we get into the classic Valentine's Day story, the one about love and defiance.
Okay, the love and defiance. This sounds juicy.
So the story goes that we have this emperor, Claudius II, not really known for being much of a romantic.
Tough guy, huh?
Yeah. And he decides to ban marriage for young soldiers.
No, why would he do that?
Well, his thinking was that single men make more dedicated warriors. No distractions.
Ah, okay, I see his logic.
Less love, more war.
Right.
But our man Valentine, well, he wasn't having any of that.
He was a romantic at heart.
He was. He truly believed in the power of love, and so guess what he did?
What did he do?
He started secretly performing marriage ceremonies for these soldiers.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
He went behind the emperor's back.
Talk about standing up for love, right?
Yeah.
But I think we all know Claudius wasn't too happy about this little secret operation.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think this ends well for Saint Valentine.
Sadly, it doesn't. Valentine's secret ceremonies land him in prison.
Oh, no.
And eventually, well, he was executed for his beliefs, for love and for marriage, and that's how he gets his rather dramatic title.
Saint Valentine the Martyr.
That's the one.
Wow. I mean, talk about a rough Valentine's Day, right?
You could say that.
Shows you that, even back then, love could be pretty complicated. But what's interesting is that the pasted text you sent us, it actually mentions that the very, very early stories about Saint Valentine's life, they don't actually connect him with, specifically romantic love. It's like that whole association that came much later on.
It's true, yeah. It's like his story evolved over time.
So how did that happen then? How did he become the symbol of romantic love if it wasn't there from the beginning?
Yeah, it's kind of a fascinating puzzle, isn't it? Some historians, they think that the connection to love how we know it today, it probably came about gradually.
Gradually.
Yeah, and maybe it was influenced by, what was already going on back in ancient Rome.
I mean,
So think about it. February, even way back then, February already had this big love-themed festival, and it was called Lupercalia.
Lupercalia, okay.
Yeah, and it was all about fertility, springtime, new beginnings.
So like a precursor to Valentine's Day in a way.
Yeah, you could definitely see it that way.
Wow. And we have all these traditions for Valentine's Day, right? Like the gifts and the special dinners. Have you ever thought about where those came from?
All the time?
I mean, maybe they're distant echoes of these ancient Roman traditions.
It's totally possible.
That's pretty wild to think about. So tell me about this Lupercalia. What kind of stuff did they do?
Okay, well, it starts off a little bit intense. They'd sacrifice animals as part of the ritual.
Okay, so maybe not so much like our Valentine's Day.
Yeah, not exactly. But then they'd use the hides from the animals to whip people.
Whip people?
Yeah, it was supposed to, promote fertility.
Okay, that's definitely not in the Valentine's Day cards.
Not quite. And then, get this, they also had this matchmaking lottery thing where the men would draw women's names from a jar.
Oh, like a random pairing.
Yeah, exactly. So not exactly chocolates and roses, but, you can see the seeds of our modern traditions in there somewhere.
Okay, so maybe we'll stick to the chocolates and roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valentine's Day has definitely gotten a lot tamer over the years.
For sure.
But how did we get from, animal sacrifices and whippings to celebrating St. Valentine. How did those two things connect?
That's where the mystery gets even deeper. There are some scholars who think that as Christianity started to spread, become more prominent, the church may have actually strategically aligned Valentine's Day with this older festival, Lupercalia.
Why would they do that?
Well, it was a way to kind of absorb and Christianize the existing pagan celebration.
Ah, so like a bit of a marketing strategy.
Yeah, basically.
Make it more palatable to the people.
Exactly. And then fast forward a few centuries, and by the time we get to the Middle Ages, that's when we really see the solid connection to romantic love with Saint Valentine taking hold.
Okay, so what happened in the Middle Ages?
Well, that's when you have all these great writers like Chaucer and Shakespeare who are all about romanticizing courtly love.
The knights and the ladies and all that.
Exactly. And their works often mention Saint Valentine kind of solidifying him as the patron saint of lovers.
So they were basically like the original Valentine's Day marketing team.
Haha, you could say that.
Wow. So literature played a huge role in cementing Valentine's Day as a day for romance. I mean, it's fascinating that even though, like we said, that direct connection between the original St. Valentine and romantic love, it's a little bit hazy, right? But we still love this story. We still celebrate it.
Yeah, I mean, we all love a good love story, right? Even if it's been embellished a bit over time.
Exactly. So then how do we get from these medieval romances to the Valentine's Day we know today?
Well, as the centuries went on Valentine's Day, it slowly evolved into this commercial holiday that we all know and sometimes love, with all the greeting cards and the chocolates, the flowers, the big romantic gestures.
Yeah, it's definitely a big business.
For sure.
So after this deep dive, what do you think is the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think it shows that even a holiday that seems, pretty simple on the surface, like Valentine's Day, can have this really rich and complex history.
Totally. It's not just about the candy hearts.
No, it's not. It's full of these twists and turns, and we've got everything in this story. I mean, mystery and romance, religious traditions, pagan festivals, a little bit of ancient marketing savvy. It's all in there.
It's an incredible story, and it really makes you think about how these traditions and these stories, they evolve over time.
Absolutely. And even though the exact origins of Valentine's Day might be debated and a little bit uncertain, I think the core message to, celebrating love and connection, well, that endures. And I think that's something worth thinking about.
I completely agree. And who knows, maybe this year when you're out there, giving your Valentine's Day gifts or receiving them, you'll have a new appreciation for all those centuries of tradition behind it.
That's what we like to hear.
From ancient Rome to the modern day, it's quite a journey. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and enjoy the celebrations.
Happy Valentine's Day.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Until then.